This is how I prepare my piston for my larger rockets. I made a video using a smaller piston using 1/2 inch and 1 inch PVC. This uses 1 inch and 1.25 inch PVC. It's a more robust piston. So the part that attaches to the airframe is a 1 inch male adapter and a 1 inch piece of PVC, and this is a piece of 3/4 PVC that I've turned about 1 inch down to fit inside of the 1 inch PVC, and I glued it in there. And then you use some 1 inch PVC couplings, cut 1/4 inch rings, and you might have to crimp them with a pair of side cutters, wire cutters, to make them slip on here easily so they don't bind. Because when you get glue on there, if you get it in the wrong spot, it's just going to stay there. So you need to, well, actually I made these a little wider than it needs to be, but you know, it works because the 3/4 PVC is too small for the inside of the ring. So what you have to do is build it up with some tape. In this case I used aluminum tape, and it took about at least 30 inches maybe, so it's kind of time consuming. But before that I used Scotch Blue exterior tape. It adheres to PVC very well. I mean, this has been used, so it's not very sticky, but I thought that it might deteriorate with the grease over time, so I've replaced it with the aluminum tape. I think it'll last longer. So I used these O-rings, which are kind of a square O-ring. Actually, it's called an X-ring. It's a regular O-ring would work, but this is just what I went with because I thought it would be a pretty good ring to go with. So on my ejection charge, I place a small little ring around the wire so I'll have a good seal around the wire. I pull it down to the hole. I leave about maybe 2 or 3 inches sticking out so it doesn't get in the way. And I take a little bit of putty, duck putty, and I kind of put it around there. So that should seal that hole to where you don't get any leak by through that hole. And once you have everything buttoned up here, you're going to have a certain amount of leak by. The leak by I'm getting, I think, is around my screw hole here. But you can collapse your piston. Might take a little time to really get it completely relaxed. I estimate that when that ejection charge goes off, it probably has at least 100 psi in this piston. So as long as you don't have a whole lot of leakage, it's going to send that out at a pretty good pace. The top part of my piston is a 1 1/4 inch PVC pipe with a flat capped PVC plug, and you screw in my case this is a 4-inch plywood piston head. You screw it onto the pipe cap, and I've attached some plastic from a large jug that I had. It's kind of like a shotgun wad. It kind of hugs the outside of the airframe wall, and it keeps cords and parachute from maybe binding in the piston. So I wouldn't want that to happen. So that kind of prevents that from happening. This is how I install my piston. In my electronics bay, I have like a 3/8 flat washer that's I have made an indent in the bulkhead here with a spade bit so the washer fits in it, and I've glued it in there. And on the back side I have a 1/2 inch hole that I've drilled. So it's a lot easier to get the wire through if you take like a stir straw or something that's similar. And insert it through the washer. Then put your piston screw through. It's so much easier with a 4-inch airframe than a 3-inch airframe. So I don't think I'll make any more 3-inch rockets. 4 inches, not that much heavier, and it's so much easier. Got just a little bit more room. So once the piston is attached, you take a foam air plug and you put in that washer, and that seals your hole so you have the correct pressure. My airframe is made out of 4-inch ABS pipe, and the whole rocket complete weighs about 22 pounds without the motor. This is how I attach my video camera. It's a Mobius Action Cam. It costs about $100, and it's a really nice camera for a rocket. So I've made a wood wedge which I've glued to the airframe, and I just put a wing nut on the other side here. And I mount my altimeter on a screw going through the body tube, and I attach it with a wing nut. I've made a little, I put a nail in here, glued it in, and it's a locator for my screws on my cover for my electronics bay. Secure the excess rope here with a rubber band. I go like maybe 2 times around just to hold it in place. I just kind of put it alongside the piston here. And I take the upper part of the airframe, and I have an index mark here to let me know which side I need to go on. And I insert the parachute rope to bring it through the body tube. So I attach the airframe together with a couple of screws on each side. My coupler there is made out of 4-inch thin wall PVC drain pipe. Has about a 1/16 of an inch wall thickness, and I cut a piece lengthwise so that it fits inside of the 4-inch piece, and then I cut another piece that fits inside of that, and I stagger the joints, glue them together. That's my coupler. So this is a 10-foot parachute. It packs into about a 3-inch diameter by maybe 1 foot. And I think I have another video showing my parachute. But so it's attached to my nose cone. So all you need to do is attach your rocket to both of these. And my nose cone I've made from this is a Harbor Freight oil funnel, and I chose Harbor Freight because it's a straight funnel and it has a straight neck. Other funnels that you find might have a curved neck, and they just aren't quite right. But Harbor Freight oil funnel works great. And I've got a series of wood rings here connected with a threaded rod which caps right at the top of where I cut off the oil funnel, and this is epoxy glue here. And the base is just a piece of 1/2-inch plywood that the threaded rod is also bolted to. And then to top it off, I have a thin section of 4-inch ABS. That's the last ring here. And you mount into that the coupler that's made from thin wall PVC pipe capped with a 1/4 inch, with a 1/2 inch wood bulkhead. This is my motor for this rocket. It's a K1450 sorbitol motor, and it has 8 grains. Total propellant is about 4 pounds, and it's a 2-inch diameter PVC. And this is my my motor mount. It's a 4-inch to 3-inch adapter with a reducer bushing to go to 2-inch, and I've cut the shoulder out of the reducer bushing so that it's a tight fit on this 2-inch piece, so I can reuse this motor mount after the motor fires. I just cut the tube and remove the motor mount, and it's just a friction fit in the airframe. By the way, this motor has 300 pounds of thrust for about 1.5 seconds. So this is the way I mount my motor. That's about as far as it wants to go, like that. So I have to, so it's just a friction fit is all that holds it on. And one benefit from this type of motor mount, even though it moves the center of gravity rearward towards the rear a little bit, when the rocket lands, it doesn't land on the fins. It lands on that. That absorbs the landing pretty much. These fins are just 1/4 MDF, and they survive the flight, but they might not survive a bad landing. So, but with that, it's pretty much. I never broke a fin on landing, and it pays to make tools to. Even if it takes a little while. This is my motor removal tool. I used to use just a piece of wood, but it chips up, and so you just put it on this. So that's the way the motor's removed. Ready for the next one.